What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Wargames, bringing you a budget build, slightly competitive Amorphage deck. So for those of you out there, Amorphages are relatively cheap. I would say you could build the deck for about 30 quid or less. And when they go off, they are a pain in the butt to deal with, and they are really strong and compete with anyone. But they do have a tendency to be inconsistent and not work. So probably about 60-40, 6 times they work, 4 times they don't. So without further ado, I'll crack on through them and I'll explain what they do. So there, straight away you play 2 Amorphage Sloth. This card's about anywhere between £4 to £6, so it's relatively cheap for a secret. And basically, when it's in the scale, if you control a Amorphage monster, neither player can add cards from their deck to the hand except by drawing them once per turn during your standby phase. Tribute one monster or destroy this card. So each Amorphage kind of has that little clause at the end that you need to tribute one monster or destroy this card while it's in the Pendulum Zone. Basically, all Amorphages also have the same effect. Amorphage Sloth kind of is the same, but with a different clause. So neither player can special summon monsters from their extra deck except Amorphage monsters. Now the other Amorphages, so as we go on to 3 Electricities, about £1.50 each. The actual clause is, if this card is Pendulum summoned or flip face up, neither player can special summon from the extra deck. So they all kind of have the same on-field effect. So this guy's effect in the Pendulum scale is it basically neither player can activate spell cards except Amorphage cards, and again tribute one or destroy this card. The other beater is Amorphage Goliath. So Goliath's effect in the Pendulum Zone is basically any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, so he's a Macross Cosmo. He's relatively cheap as well, about 50p each. 3 Amorphage Envy. This card in the Pendulum Zone, basically players cannot activate cards or effects that are chain linked 2 or higher. Greed. Neither player can activate their neither player can activate monster effects except Amorphages while this card's on the field. Greed. Neither player can activate trap cards except Amorphages. Wrath. Neither player can tribute monsters except Amorphages. And then Pride. Neither player takes any effect damage once per turn. Obviously this is all if you control an Amorphage monster. Now obviously the biggest issue with the Amorphage monsters is they are scales 3 to 5. So the only ones that you can normally pendulum out is Wrath, Pride, Greed, and then Envy. So the idea is, oh, why it's jumping out of focus? The idea is that you circle around these guys. So you want to be putting your Goliaths in scales. You want to be putting your Goliaths in scales to pop and then use Pendulum Reborn, or you pendulum these guys out, tribute off to get your beat sticks out. Electricities you put in the scales, generally because you stop the spells. Sloths as well, you hold in your hand or you put in the scales, and then Gluttony you put into the scales. So, like I said, you literally just circle around these. When we get to the spells and traps, you'll see why you can just sit on an Amorphage monster and just let it go. So, onto the spells. You play 2 Amorphous Persona and 1 Terraforming. So, Amorphous Persona, it is the ritual spell card for the ritual monster, but you mainly use it the fact that all Amorphage monsters gain 300 attack and defense on the field, and then twice per turn, if an Amorphage monster you control is tributed, you draw 1 card. So that's basically the main on-field effect. So when you're tributing your Amorphages for their scale effects, you're drawing off of Persona. Next we play 3 Amorphage Infection. This card is amazing coupled with the trap card. So the spell card is, all Amorphage monsters on the field gain 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. If a monster or monsters in your hand or you control is tributed or destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add 1 Amorphage card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Amorphage Infection once per turn. So, if you have 3 of these on board, your power boost is tripled. Obviously you don't get search 3 times, but it's tripling up the power, and it's crazy because obviously it counts itself and then it counts the rest, it counts your scales, and then you have on board. So there are some times where you can like brutally boost up your Amorphage cards just with the spell. Play 1 Pot of Riches just to recycle your Pendulum monsters when you really need to. 2 Scapegoats, because obviously this helps you. You can quick play this in your draw phase, standby phase, just so that you don't have to pop your Amorphages. So if you control 1 Amorphage, you activate a Scapegoat, you can pop the tokens and keep those alive. 2 MSTs, just to take out back row. I mean, obviously, only Amorphage spells and traps can be active if you put Electricity in the scales, so only Infection. But the idea is you don't have an Amorphage on field, so you activate the rest, or you activate the rest, then activate Electricity. And that's kind of it for the spells. Now on to the traps. So we play 2 Pendulum Reborn, just so if you have your Goliath or if you have your Sloth in your scale, when it's popped and sent to the extra deck, you activate one of these and bring it back straight away. 2 Storm and Mirror Force, you can do these to Drowning, Quaking, whichever ones you prefer. This is just obviously a budget build, so like I said, this whole deck is kind of built around, can be made for less than 30 quid. And then 3 Amorphage Lysis. This card again is amazing. It's the opposite to Infection. So all the monsters on the field except Amorphage monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. If a card in your Pendulum Zone is destroyed except during the damage step, you can place 1 Amorphage Pendulum monster from your deck into your Pendulum Zone. You can only use this effect once per turn. So the decrease again will stack if you have all 3 in play, but the pop effect doesn't. But basically, if you, let's say you have 2 Scale 5s and you need a Scale 3, you let that one pop, go to your extra deck, then you replace it with a Scale 3, and then let's say you do have an Amorphage on field to tribute, you tribute that off to keep that there. So you basically get to bring out your Scale that you desperately need. And that is it. That's how simple it is. This deck really doesn't need an extra deck, and until they confirm or release any more, which I don't think they will, but until they do, the Amorphages don't really need an extra deck because you can just go straight onto them, lock your opponent out, and then beef these guys up and decrease your opponent's cards. So like I said, 6 times out of 10, this goes off and it will lock your opponent out and you'll do really, really well. Because the second this deck, basically the key to the deck is being ahead, being a +1. So the second that the Amorphages can keep their scales and keep you locked out of the game and maintain those by popping their cards and then pendulum them back out, that's it, it's game. There's very little you can do. I mean, if they have Electricity and they have Greed in the scales, that's stopping your spells and your traps. So, and then the second they get Amorphage, Sloth out and Goliath, or even Pride and Wrath, and then they're just beefing it up with the trap cards or the spell cards, it's really quite a formidable deck to deal with. Now, like I said, this is quite a budget build, it's really cheap. You can probably pick up the Amorphage core easily, just that lot there for a tenner, if not less. Those are cheap. You can get common, you can probably get, if you have a really good friend, you can probably get MSTs and common scope gates for free. Pot, about 3 quid. A playset of Infection you could probably pick up for about £1 each at max. Like, you can probably get it way cheaper than that. Terraform again is cheap. Persona, probably about 3 quid each, maybe a little bit less, maybe 2. Lysis again, you can probably pick up the playset for £1. Goldstorm and Mirror Force is a couple of quid each, and then Pendulum Reborn again, 50p's each. So it's a real cheap deck to build. It is quite fun to play. If you want to get into Pendulums, this is one of the good ones to go into. It can be slightly annoying, but the second you master it, or the second, like I said, the second the Amorphages get ahead, they're really tough to stop, because I mean, you can't activate your traps, you can't activate your spells, you can't activate your monster effects, you can't search with Sloth, and then you can't activate your extra deck if Sloth or Goliath are on the field, or if any of these guys have been flipped face up or pendulum summoned, which is exactly what the deck revolves around doing. So basically, with Amorphages, it'll either be a really quick game where the Amorphage player bricks or just can't process or go through the cycle he needs to, or it'll be a stall game where he gets everything he needs, or she gets everything he needs, the player gets everything they need, sets it on board, locks you out, and you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! So, not the nicest of decks, but a very, very strong deck when it works. So, thanks for watching. Also, we've got a competition going on, so Mega Tin giveaway. So check out the link in the description below for that. All you need to do for that is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then share the video for us. It's as simple as that, and you can win one of 6 mega packs and promos. I will be splitting up the promos and putting 2 of each of those with each pack, and that runs until next Wednesday. So Wednesday the 7th of September, the competition will end, and then I'll be announcing the winners hopefully on the 8th of September, and then shipping them straight out to them as soon as I get their details. So best of luck with that, guys. And like I said, it's as simple as that. If you've already subscribed, you're a third of the way there. Just keep going. And as always, happy dueling.